Hi, welcome to Tina's Arena, the podcast where I share my personal stories about growth, entrepreneurship, and self-love. I've spent most of my life as a people pleaser, suffering from extremely low self-esteem, which accumulated into years and years of disordered eating and intense shame. Now, on the other side of most of that, I share with you the things that I have felt and learned to be the most impactful for me along my journey, hoping that it will impact you in your journey. So thank you for listening. Today, on this week's episode of Tina's Arena, I want to talk about David Goggins. If you're listening to this podcast, and I think you might know who David Goggins is, he is a former Navy SEAL, now author slash motivational speaker, but I don't think he wants to resonate with all of that. He is just David Goggins. He is truly a unique individual. I don't think there's anyone else like him on the planet, not that we know of so far, because he has taught himself how to be incredibly self-disciplined, and he does not waver on the promises that he makes to himself. And that is why I want to talk about him today, because I believe that we all have so much to learn. I just listened to his interview on Huberman Lab, and he said that he doesn't want a documentary made about him because most people are going to watch that documentary and think that he's absolutely crazy, which I believe is true. Most people will think that David Goggins is crazy because of the level of self-discipline that he has. He says that he doesn't break any promises to himself because as soon as you break one promise to yourself, it will become easier and easier for you to break the next one. He is impeccable with his word, and that is something to be admired for sure. However, I think he does take it to an extreme. He has talked about breaking his feet, I think both feet, and then 2 weeks later he did a whole marathon on them, just 2 weeks after breaking his feet, and he ran it in just over 3 hours. I can't tell if he's bragging or if he's just saying it as a matter of fact, but I don't think that that is something that people should emulate. Running on broken feet has probably led him to have feet issues that he has to live with every day for the rest of his life. And he actually does talk about how his body is broken and he has to maintain his self-discipline in order to force himself to run with his broken body. He says that. I don't know if people should emulate it, but then again, it's all relative, right? So the way that David Goggins talks about his life is he describes himself as a fat, lazy, unmotivated individual back in his early 20s. And he is scared of that version of himself. I'm using his own words. I'm not embellishing things on top of what he says. He actually swears the way that he describes himself. He's much more vulgar than I am. But he does not like that past version of himself, and he even says that if he only did what that version of himself wanted, then he would still be that person today. He had to develop mental toughness and an attitude where he had to ignore that person because that wasn't the person that he wanted to be. And that is an idea that I talk about as well. Who is running your thoughts? Is it the person that you want to be, or is it the person that you are? And if it's the person that you are, is that the person that you want to continue to be? We all have different voices in our heads. For example, the inner child, the inner teenager, the adult, the wise woman, and we all have the choice within us of who we want to listen to. For example, when I wake up in the morning and I don't want to get up, I don't want to go to the gym yet, I know that is the comfortable part of me. I don't know if it would be my inner child or my teen, but it's definitely the comfortable version of me that just wants to stay relaxed, choose the easy way out, stay in bed, be comfortable. But the wise woman in me, my adult self even, knows that in order for me to feel like the best person that I can, in order for me to feel energized, in order for me to feel strong, I need to get up and I need to go do my workout. So in that moment, I have a choice of who is it that I want to pay attention to. I don't want to be the person that I am, comfortable and in bed all day. I want to be the person that gets out of bed and goes to the gym and does the workout. And so that is what I choose most of the time now, because I've had lots and lots of practice choosing the wise action for myself over time. And I've also had lots of days where I chose to stay in bed, and then maybe a couple of times it felt good, but maybe most of the time I actually thought, this is not it. This is not who I want to be. I don't feel like I've accomplished anything in my morning yet. So I have to make a mental note in myself to choose differently next time. Who is it that you want to be? Make decisions as if you were already that person. And if you don't know how that person will decide, then create a mental community in your mind, because your mind is very, very strong and you are fully capable of knowing what to choose. So whoever you want to be like, make those people your role models. For example, I wanted to be a professional athlete, then I am going to choose Serena Williams to be in my head for me. And she's going to make my decisions for me. When I'm laying in bed in the morning and I don't know if I should get up or if I should stay in bed, I'm going to ask Serena Williams, what would Serena Williams do in this moment? She's probably going to get up and train. See how easy that was? If you can't choose for yourself, then choose people to choose for you. Choose David Goggins. What would David Goggins do? You know what David Goggins would do. David Goggins is getting up. David Goggins probably skipped sleep even, and he's going to go on that run. Okay. Something else about David Goggins that I really resonate with is that he fully believes that you are fully capable of anything that you believe in, and it all starts in your mind. It all starts with your mindset. And it's just as easy as that example that I just gave you. Imagine that you are the person that you want to be, and if you can't imagine that, then imagine you're pretending to be Serena Williams, or imagine that David Goggins is your boss and you have to do work for him. And what is he going to tell you to do? He's going to tell you to get that butt of yours up and going. Okay? And it's all in your mind. And I remember someone in my life actually told me this, that I was creating my own depression in my mind, and I got really, really upset at them because I was thinking to myself, how could I want to choose this? And why would I create this scenario where I am now depressed and living in my depression and wallowing in my depression? And they said it in a very crass manner, which is probably most of the reason why I was upset and I didn't hear what they were trying to say. But at the end of the day, I can see where they were coming from, because it is true. Depression, anxiety, motivation, willpower, goal setting, it truly all does begin and end in your mind. Your mind is the point of view with which you see everything. Your mindset is the lens in which you see everything through. The person that I imagine when I am thinking of a woman that feels worthy and is confident and knowing is my meditation teacher. This is the image that I have of her. I don't know if she actually feels this way about herself, but the way that she talks and communicates and teaches, it just makes me feel like she is so sure of who she is, of the amount of worth that she has, and her deservingness to exist in the world exactly as she is. So she has definitely been an incredible teacher of mine, not only through teaching me meditation and how to teach meditation, but just an example of true self-worth, of just knowing that I am good and I am great and I exist and I deserve to exist and I deserve to feel great as I exist. That is incredible to me. It's just had a profound impact on me because I don't know if I ever really experienced any woman that felt that way before I met her. And maybe I did, but they don't have it to the same degree that she has. So she is a person that I think of and a person that I try to emulate. Someone who has the unwavering knowing, deep knowing and understanding that she has value and worth and belongs in this world. I imagine a scenario where some idiot might go up to her and just tell her, "You are an ugly, disgusting piece of human and you don't belong here." I can't even say that or think about her as I say that. But imagine someone did that to her. She would probably just look blankly at that person and say something like, "Who hurt you?" Because she would know that that statement had nothing to do with her and it would not impact her in any way. It would just be like whoosh, like that. She would understand that that statement was so completely untrue that it would be like, okay, like, what's going on here? What's wrong with you? Why are you saying that? You know? Whereas, I don't want to use me as an example, but I think I'll use me as an example. Now, say someone came up to me and told me that I am an ugly, disgusting piece of human and I don't belong here. Imagine somebody said that to me. I would probably deflect and say something like, okay, in the moment, but deep down, I'm gonna feel it somewhere. Because that statement sounds awful, but there's a tiny bit of me that's gonna listen and pay attention to it. Because there's a tiny bit of me that kind of believes that too. Sorry to say. That's how I'm trying to show you that your mindset and your framing, your belief completely shapes the way that you experience the world. If you believed that you were worthy of being here and you were smart and you were good and I told you that you sucked, you would just know that that wasn't true. And you would ignore that statement. And you would know that maybe I was upset because I said that or something happened. But if you did have the belief in yourself that you are unworthy and life is difficult and everything sucks, and I told you that you sucked, then you would receive that because you already believed it. And so we have to work on our mindset and our beliefs and the frame or the perspective in which we see the world. And that is something that David Goggins has done. He's shifted his beliefs and his mindset. And he's actually taught himself that suffering is to be expected. He doesn't believe that he deserves anything anymore. He has to earn his right, and that is the reason why he continues to run every single day, because he feels that he needs to earn his stripes all of the time. Because he knows how easy it is to fall back into old patterns. And it truly is easy to fall back into old patterns. So we have to stay disciplined and stay engaged with our bigger picture in order to keep us going. And so I relate to David Goggins because I've gotten into training and endurance training, and it has been one of the ways in which I teach myself that I am capable of so much more than I originally believed. And I continue to train and continue to choose new events to try and new circumstances to put myself into because I want to continually grow, and I am trying to continually prove to myself that yes, I deserve to be here, and yes, I am capable of earning my own stripes and proving to myself all of the time that I can do things that I feel are hard, and I can do things that are uncomfortable. Just because things are uncomfortable doesn't mean that it is wrong. We are living in a society where we are just way too comfortable. And this is another thing that David Goggins says. Our society is too comfortable. We are too used to feeling comfortable, so much so that any sort of discomfort that we feel feels wrong. So he's actually taught himself how to love the discomfort and how to train through it. And this is something that I actually really resonate with, because when I was training for my endurance hike last year, my 29 Everesting hike, I was going to the gym multiple times a day, 2 to 3 times a day, because I knew that I would be training tired. And so it actually became this addictive sort of thing where anytime that I felt tired and I had a free hour or two, I was going to the gym, because I was telling myself that, when I do the actual hike, I'm going to be tired. And so I need to start training when I am tired, so that when the opportunity comes to me in real life, I'll know what it feels like and I'll know that I can do it, because I've trained for this moment. I trained for this exact moment to keep going when I was tired and I didn't want to. And that training paid off. I got really far in my hike. It worked. And I'm a stronger individual today because of it. Another thing that really resonates with me that David Goggins says is that motivation is fleeting. You do not rely on your motivation, and that feelings are feelings and they are not always to be paid attention to. I'm sure he says it differently, but basically motivation comes and goes. It's not something that you should be relying on, because it varies from day to day and your energy levels impact it. So many things impact motivation. And so how you get around that is knowing why you're doing what you're doing. And for David Goggins, his is fear. He fears becoming his former self again. He does not want that in any way, because he knows how bad it felt. He knows how sick he was. He would rather the pain of discipline than the pain of falling back into his old former self. I'm the same way. I don't fear my former self, but I fear not living a life well lived. I want a long and healthy lifespan, and I am training for that. I also fear not living up to my greatest potential. Those are my driving forces of the reasons why I do what I do. I train, I podcast, I speak, because I want to keep moving forward. I just want to keep growing so bad. I believe that there is so much more out there and we're all capable of so much. I just want to keep expanding and learning and doing more and helping more people. When I am so driven to do something, sometimes I have to ignore my feelings. When I am driven towards my goals and I know what I'm headed towards, I know why I'm doing what I'm doing, sometimes that means ignoring the feelings of sadness, the feelings of tiredness. Of course, I listen to my body and I pay attention, but at the same time, I can't let that drive my decisions. If I paid attention to every time I was tired and I skipped a whole workout every time I was tired, then I wouldn't be making any progress. In order to grow, we have to be uncomfortable. It is by definition uncomfortable to learn, because when we learn, we are doing something new and we are doing something maybe in a way that we've never experienced before. Learning is by default uncomfortable. So if you stayed comfortable your whole life, that means that you've never learned anything new. And that to me isn't even an option. I don't want to feel stagnant. I don't want to feel like I'm moving backwards in terms of education and fitness ability. That is not on my radar at this moment. And so in order for me to go and continue on this path, sometimes I need to work out when I'm tired. Actually, most of the time, I need to work out when I'm tired. I need to have hard conversations, even though they might make me feel uncomfortable, and I might have feelings of frustration and anger as I have those conversations. But there's usually growth on the other side of discomfort, so keep getting uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable. That really is the answer to a lot of things. Stop avoiding your discomfort. It's not helping you. In case you didn't know, I'm a nutrition coach and I do a group coaching program. The next installment is going to start in April. So if you struggle with your relationship to food, or if you struggle with nutrition and you don't know what to pay attention to or how to eat, this is my realm of expertise. I am really good at breaking down simple solutions for you in nutrition. I can help you meal plan, and we even talk about the basics of exercise and sleep. And so if this feels like something that resonates with you and you want to give it a try with me, I am starting the next group coaching program mid-April. So make sure you reach out to me. My website is tinasarena.com and you'll be able to contact me there. Please remember, it is free to support podcasts and creators that you love. All we ask is that you like, share, subscribe, and rate the shows that you listen to. It helps with reach, and it will help get this episode into the hands of those that need to hear it. Thank you for listening. As always, I love you. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next week.